Hello! So it's been roughly around 2 weeks since I completed the campaign for Halo Infinite. Now, if you were to do the math... Yes, that means I beat the campaign in one shot. Warning, do not do this. You know, I wanted to be one of the first gamers around the world to complete the campaign, and lo and behold, mission accomplished. I started the campaign around 10:42 a.m. on December 8th, and I finished it at 1:17 a.m. on December 9th. Salute to you, Master Chief.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, as I was reading the good old interwebs, apparently the campaign is supposed to be about 8 to 12 hours in length. And it took me roughly around 14 and a half hours to complete it on normal. So does that mean that I'm a below average gamer? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, since I had so much Halo Infinite to digest at one time, it left me feeling the same way you feel after eating a huge holiday dinner. Stuffed and sleepy. But now some time has passed, and here are my thoughts about Halo Infinite. My history with Halo goes all the way back to the original OG Xbox with Combat Evolved. You know, prior to that, I didn't play any FPS, so I had nothing to compare it to. I just thought that the control setup has always been that way. But apparently I was wrong, and Halo Combat Evolved was revolutionary for its time and became the standard for every FPS that came after that. Fast forward a few years later, and I purchased, but did not complete, Halo 2. And that was the end of my Halo journey until I picked up my beloved Xbox Series S. So I thank the heavens above that the Halo Master Chief Collection had worked out all the bugs, and I was able to play the series optimized for the Series X and S without any hiccups. Now, even though you can jump into playing Halo Infinite without playing any of the previous Halos, I highly recommend you play through the Master Chief Collection before jumping into Halo Infinite. But here's the thing, when you're into a series as deep and as vast as the Halo series is, it's hard to revolutionize the industry or gameplay. But thankfully, 343 did not try to do too much. Rather, they listened to the community, and they gave the community what we wanted. I can't say the same for some of the previous projects, as 343, well, they seemed to lose their way and they didn't know how to proceed. But honestly, Halo Infinite, it isn't revolutionary, but it's Halo and Master Chief at its best. Master Chief's weapons and game controls are very familiar, but we get a few more to use. The grapple shot is what I use most and what came very useful in most cases, especially when it was upgraded to electric shock enemies when I hooked them. However, there were other pieces of equipment that were obtained that I could have used during the campaign, but I found myself not using them unless I had to, because switching to them became cumbersome, especially during a fight. Now, this is 343's first attempt at creating an open world in any of the Halo series. Normally, the game is very linear as you progress from one area to the next. That's not the case with Halo Infinite. The map is vast enough to get lost in, and there's plenty of enemies to kill without necessarily progressing through the campaign. However, as I moved from place to place, the objectives, well, they became quite repetitive. I mean, how many times do I have to find a power core to power the door? With that being said, the AI models for the enemies are really well done. Now, because of that, there's quite a bit of strategy that's needed in order to take down all the enemies. But that's not the case of some other FPS that I've been recently playing. You can definitely see the contrast between great AI models and poor ones. No, he doesn't see me. I'm right here. He's looking right at me. That's horrible. Overall, having an open world Halo was inevitable, and I'm satisfied on the freedom that it allows. Now, as you progress through the campaign, Master Chief encounters different types of bosses and enemies, just like any other campaign. But let me tell you, some are ridiculously powerful and extremely annoying. These running brutes that will track you down and try to ply you over. I mean, it's fine if you're not in a huge gunfight with enemies, but man, it becomes frustrating when you're swarmed and the brute runs you over. Skimmers are a new type of enemy that fly around and use a brute shock rifle against you. Now, as you're being shocked with voltage, you're unable to move. That means that your enemies have free range on you as you cannot defend yourself. My. These skimmers, they appear way too often, especially towards the end of the campaign, and are truly annoying to deal with. And then there's the Sentinels. Oh, the Sentinels, these pesky little pests. I've hated dealing with these ever since their inception. The Halo Infinite campaign gives you more Sentinels than any player could ever desire. Now the bosses, on the other hand, they progress in difficulty as you progress through the campaign. Now although it can be very frustrating to try to defeat them, I did have a proud feeling of accomplishment once each boss was defeated. But here's a big but. One thing that made each boss fight even more challenging was the freaking save points. To me, these save points were randomly done, and it was extremely frustrating when I had to start the boss fight all over again every time I died. So in summation, Halo Infinite is a great installment in the Halo series. The entire Halo universe has never looked and played better. Plus, with the multiplayer available for free $99, I mean, jeez. Halo Infinite will be played for years to come, probably until the next Halo installment is released. So in my book, I give Halo Infinite a 9.117 out of 10. It looks and runs great, it's an open world, great story, free multiplayer, and of course available on Game Pass. But it's not perfect. Repetitive objects, ridiculously strong enemies, and odd save points do hinder it quite a bit. But if you want to see how I can prove that the Xbox Series S can hang with the big boys, then go ahead and click or tap on the screen. But until next time, Handsome Nation, thank you and have a good one.